Welcome to the Fulfilling the Mission podcast. I'm Brandon Isle with BYU-Idaho Radio. The mission of BYU-Idaho is to develop disciples of Jesus Christ who are leaders in their home, the church, and their communities. And in this podcast, we're exploring how teachers in each of the colleges and departments of BYU-Idaho are helping to fulfill that mission. We're in the Welcome Center on campus today, and joining me are Justin Miller, who's the chair of the Department of Engineering Technology, and Rustin Moon, who's a student majoring in Automotive Engineering Technology. Thanks for joining me here today.
Well, it's good to be here.
It's so fun to talk about these programs. I know they're very hands-on, and you have so many hard skills that you're teaching the students and they're learning and taking out into the world. So if first we could just kind of go through the different majors that you offer in your department and talk about each of those. Let's start with the automotive.
In the automotive program, there are 4 degrees, but 3 of them are bachelor's degrees and 1 is an associate degree. We have Automotive Engineering Technology. This is what Rustin's doing.
Yep.
That's a degree designed to prepare students to be test engineers, to help develop vehicles, so more on the research and development, the engineering side of future vehicles. We have Advanced Vehicle Systems. That degree is prepared to help people more on service engineering, so vehicles also have to be engineered so they can be serviced for years to come, maintained. You know, we continue to find problems with them even after they're in production and on the road. And then we have Automotive Technology Management for students that want to be on the business management side of the automotive industry, and there's great need for that too. The associate degree is Automotive Technology for technicians and those that want a skilled trade. And then we have welding, and in welding we have Welding Engineering Technology and Welding and Fabrication, and it's very similar. We've got Welding Engineering Technology are people that are going to be involved in designing the welds, so working for large companies that do a lot of work with metal and machinery, designing the processes for building and fabricating those things. Not necessarily welders. That's the associate degree again, the skilled trade. And we have Manufacturing Engineering Technology. That degree revolves around how things are made from any type of material you can imagine. You've got an idea, a dream, something that you want to create, and you want it made out of aluminum or plastic or carbon fiber. You know, what's the process that you would use to make that? And those students are involved in the engineering side of that as well. Yeah,
so many programs, and I love that there's the associate degree that's the hard skills, so you don't necessarily have to get the bachelor's degree, but you can, and I think a lot of people don't understand that is available in welding and automotive. Tell me about just that step up from the associates to the bachelor's. What's the difference there?
You know, honestly, you just take a few more classes and get a few more credits. You know, you have to have enough credits to earn a bachelor's degree. And so you'll take a lot of the same core courses, but as you take additional courses and get more generals, you now qualify for a bachelor's degree. And it opens a whole new world of career opportunities. You go from being the skilled laborer to being the manager or the problem solver, the person behind it. I would say with the bachelor's degrees, the key thing is you're not just doing the work, you're now creating the work, you're solving the problems, same skills, but you're just thinking on a higher level.
Yeah.
And
a better paycheck, hopefully.
Oh yeah, the paycheck is substantially better. They're good paychecks for skilled workers too, but you can really increase your income by getting a bachelor's degree.
Yeah. Now, Rustin, tell me a little bit about what got you interested in the automotive program.
Well, I actually started in biomedical science, so it was kind of a U-turn when it came to getting the automotive program, but I've always loved understanding how things work. I got into auto tech in high school and got really involved with that, and so I felt like I needed to get into automotive here, and it's been a real blast being able to build things, understand how I can better build things I want to make, as well as help those around me with the different engineering. Because with automotive engineering specifically, there's a little bit of like mechanical, chemical, electrical, software, manufacturing, all these different facets of engineering are in that. And so I hope to be a well-rounded person, and I like being able to learn a little bit of all those different things.
Yeah, you totally get to understand how the cars work and maybe even start designing things yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. And you've done an internship already. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I did an internship for Teton Toyota. So it's a local dealership, but they are owned by Teton Auto Group, which owns multiple dealerships throughout the Pacific Northwest. And it was great. I was there it started as an internship. It kind of turned into a job. And then they were like, oh, you should stay here as a technician. I was like, well, I got to go back and finish my degree.
I need to take my classes.
Like, this is fun, but I don't think my back's going to hold it for the rest of my life. So yeah, that was great. And I've got an internship lined up. I only need one, but I have another one with Peterbilt in May as a design engineer for their after treatment sector.
Wow. So what will that entail?
So that I'm pretty excited. Some automotive engineers aren't the happiest with CAD. I love CAD.
Explain what CAD is.
Computer-aided design. So we get to model things 3D on a computer software and design and prototype without even having to make anything and make any mistakes that are costly. So I'm going to be able to do that for Peterbilt with packaging, designing packaging for their after-treatment systems for their exhaust, which will then be implemented in 2027.
Yeah. Now, I know internships are so important to the students, and I think they're required for every major. Yep. What kind of groups are you finding they're getting internships with? And then do those lead to jobs? Fingers crossed, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Typically, we'd like the student to get experience, and that's what it's all about, in the field, in the industry, and each year of school, maybe level that up a little bit. So sometimes they do start out at a local business or something, but then they'll go to a little more professional type of an internship where they're challenged more professionally. And ideally, maybe the student that's a junior will have an internship that's very closely aligned to the job they want when they graduate. And if they do that, almost all the time that turns into a full-time offer. So as a senior, they have an offer or 2 or 3 or 4 sometimes.
Wow.
Just waiting for them when they graduate. And so it's a very nice link, and we have great relationships with so many of the employers that have hired BYU-Idaho students in the past. And after hiring one, they immediately come back and say, we want more.
And that's what we want.
That's the pattern, and it happens over and over. Yeah.
Are there specific companies you can talk about that have done that?
On the automotive side, we have Ford Motor Company has hired dozens, maybe hundreds, I don't know, lots and lots of students over the years. Tesla, Toyota. We have students in just about every auto manufacturer. You know, you think of the names of the cars that you know. We have them at places like Peterbilt and John Deere. And then when you get into welding and manufacturing, they also send people to places like John Deere.
Lincoln, Caterpillar, Miller.
You just imagine, you hear the word automotive and most people think cars, but we say, anything that moves itself. So trains, spaceships.
Well, I understand Polaris is very interested in our students, and they're snowmobiles and things, right? Right. And send one, you're going to send more and more and more.
Yeah, the technical skills that they learn in the classes really apply across the board. Some people have said, if I choose welding or if I choose automotive or manufacturing, I'm narrowing my opportunities. It turns out you're actually, as Rustin kind of alluded to, you're getting very broad range of skills that apply to just about anything technical.
Yeah. Now, tell me about the classroom, because you do have typical classrooms, but a lot of this is real working labs. What is that like?
Well, in the classroom, we talk about the theory. If we were just training a skilled person to go and do things like fix a car, we would say, well, here's how you take this off, and here's how you put this on. Here's how you remove it, here's how you install it. But we don't teach like that. We say, this is the system, this is how it works, here's the theory behind it, and now let's go out and try it. And so the students have labs where they weld, where they manufacture. They design their own parts or tools and then have to manufacture them out of the different types of materials. And sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it does. So it really is try it, right? When we're in the automotive labs, we bring in cars that have problems. So in an electrical class, we have a list of people who say, my car has electrical problems. The students bring them in. We try to teach them to correctly problem solve and diagnose, take the time to get it right. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes things happen, but that's the best learning.
Right.
The textbook can't teach you that.
Right, yeah, that failing is important to do. Rustin, you laughed a little bit when he said sometimes it doesn't work out. Do you have a story?
Which one? Well, I also wanted to add that these vehicles that we're working on are customer vehicles. So they're people from around in the community. So they're not just dead cars that we have students to experiment with. They're actual customer vehicles. They have to deal with the customer. They have to be able to learn how to communicate effectively, or else we're going to have an unhappy customer. When things go wrong, I'm trying to think of a specific one. I've done some in my major. We do have to do some manufacturing classes, and I wish I'd brought some of the things I'd made because they're pretty cool. But there's always something that you learn that you didn't think about. And when we were doing a CNC class, I made a level and I programmed it to go around the side of this piece of material and just kind of trim it. But I messed up on the code and it cut right through the middle of it. And luckily it was aluminum, it didn't break anything, but you have some of those close calls. We have a couple mishaps here or there in the lab, shorting things out, especially in the automotive with electrical, because cars have a lot of electrical. But I think we've been pretty blessed and everyone's been okay. Haven't had anything too serious.
Well, the skill we're really teaching is problem solving, right? And when we create our own problems, all we've done is given ourselves a new experience, a new problem to solve.
That'll be on the test. Now, you have such a great automotive lab. I say it's a lab, but really it's a garage, right? Just a few years old. Tell me what a difference this makes. How many stalls are in there?
Oh, I think if you're talking about the Engineering Technology Center, there are about 27 stalls in that building, and we have automotive labs in the Austin building as well, where we can fit probably another 22 or 3 cars there. Yeah. It makes a big difference because we have 500 automotive students, right? And so just to be able to give each student hands-on experience in the real world. We could simulate things at a desk or on a computer screen, but that just isn't the same. The real nuances of a problem don't show up in a simulation. And in fact, that's really what we're teaching here. These are, I think, AI-proof skills because we're not teaching them just to follow a program or follow steps, but to learn to evaluate ambiguous situations and determine what's the corrective action here. And no two situations are the same. And only in a lab where you can bring real vehicles in, or only in a lab where you're really trying things, can you have that type of an experience.
Yeah. Oh, it's such an important experience. Do you remember the first time you walked into any of your labs? What was that feeling like?
Wow, I haven't thought about that. I was just excited. I grew up working on cars with a jack stand and a jack, having to crawl underneath the car, and I'm from Oregon, so it's wet and rainy. So you just get cold and kind of miserable. And so having lifts and alignment racks and tire machines, and we've got a couple new pieces that are state-of-the-art alignment and driver aid systems for testing. I just thought it was pretty cool that they have it here, and also when I was learning that we have the big automotive manufacturers will come here and hire straight from here, I was surprised.
Yeah. Well, I understand this is the biggest 4-year program in the United States. Is that right?
It is.
Yeah. What a cool thing. I mean, hang that on the banner, right?
Yeah. It's it's neat because for one thing, it really attracts people to come here and hire. They know that they're going to have lots of students to hire from, and there's enough students for more than one company to hire from. And the size, you'd think that would be a deterrent, but somehow we've all managed to stay close, and I think the quality of what we're doing stays high just because everybody cares and everybody participates. But it's a wonderful program to be a part of.
Yeah. Now, tell me about the spiritual side of this. BYU-Idaho is all about helping students become disciple leaders, and we do that in every classroom, whether it's automotive or accounting or whatever it is. How do you bring the Spirit into the classroom in the automotive and welding and manufacturing classes?
Well, it isn't hard. It isn't like the technical concepts taught in a welding class are any different than the truths that come from the scriptures, right? I mean, anything that's true is true. It doesn't matter. I think President Nelson said it doesn't matter if it's learned in a lab or if you've learned it through revelation. Truth is truth, and two truths never conflict, right? So it isn't hard. It isn't like you have to switch gears to go from automotive to spiritual. It's the same gear. It's all the same. I look at all the stuff we know about technology today as just revelation that's been given to man here on the earth, and we have the privilege of kind of peeling back the layers and trying to understand some of that. And if we taught somebody skills, but they left here without a testimony of the gospel of Jesus Christ, there would be no point at all in having the skills. And I recognize that everybody's got to exercise their agency and develop their own faith and testimony at their own time and in their own way. But I think this place has given all of us, including me, a great environment, a great laboratory to experiment with the gospel, with our faith, to plant that seed and run that experiment as well. So I don't think there's any difference between the spiritual and the technical and secular knowledge that we're sharing. It's all seamless.
Yeah. Are there specific things that you have the teachers do or you've done yourself to kind of help facilitate that?
Well, we try to always make sure that prayers are said before each class or lab period. We try to take a few minutes to share. Usually students are the ones sharing, but share a spiritual thought that I think just helps to kind of put things into perspective again, remember why we're here and what this is all about. I think that all the people that are hired here, we hope that we hire people that have a testimony and that will be examples. Not perfect. Rustin for sure by now has seen some of my weaknesses. But I hope that we can just show that we're people trying to develop our discipleship as well, and this is how you do it.
Yeah. Rustin, what have you seen in the classroom that has helped develop your faith in Jesus Christ?
I think for the first 2 years of my college experience, I probably didn't have the best outlook on BYU-Idaho, and I'm going to be honest. I had a little bit of a mindset I had to change. I had a really difficult time in my life that I had to deal with. And then I came back to school, and my professors, those in the major, were just there, and they, with spiritual thoughts, with prayers, with just being a friend, which is what Christ did. He ministered to the one, and he ministered to everyone around him, and I get to learn from spiritual giants like Brother Miller. And hopefully I get to apply some of those things. I'm the president of the Society of Automotive Engineers, and we always are working on things, like in our degree, we're engineers, we're designing, we're repairing, we're fixing, but we're also trying to engineer testimonies. We want to be able to build a foundation so people can go out and be missionaries and share love and truth to the world. Because we're not going to be in perfect employment environments and people can have different opinions, and that's fine. But learning how to love and do as the Savior did is what we're learning in this program.
Yeah. You brought up that society. Are there several societies that students can get involved in?
Yeah, there's a society for each of our programs. So automotive, that would be Rustin's group. And Rustin's just such a great example too in that as a leader, right? Really. And then we have a welding society and a manufacturing society. So no matter what your major is, you have a society that fits. And of course, some students will join other societies on campus that fit some of their interests as well. But
yeah. What would you say is the advantage of being part of a society?
So, the advantage. So there are a couple things, especially with ours. We get, with it being so cold, I think I looked, it was like negative 10 or something this morning. So it was pretty cold. And if you want to work on your own vehicle, we have open labs that if you sign up for, then you can use our facilities on campus with people in our leadership who monitor to make sure everything goes safely. And as well as just getting to know each other and working together and networking. Because what I've learned is it's not what you know, but who you know. And it's a great experience. And we have sub-societies or clubs underneath the umbrella of SAE, Society of Automotive Engineers. Women in Automotive, we've got the mentoring program, we've got Formula Hybrid, we're building an electric race car. So that's pretty cool. And a couple other things just to kind of further and be like, hey, how do you want to get involved and build this community? You can go do it. We want to support you.
I've got to hear more about this electric race car. you can't just leave us hanging.
Okay. So there's an international, the Society of Automotive Engineers is an international thing, and they have a competition called Formula Hybrid. And so we bought a car, I think 2 years ago, from Idaho State. I think it's what
University of Idaho.
University of Idaho. I get those mixed up. And we realized we had to redo everything on the car, so it's been a huge effort, but they put in a ton of work. I have to give a shout out to Chris and Tate for leading, because hopefully we're going to be competing in the spring. Currently, it's not a hybrid system; it's strictly electric, but they're going to be competing against big colleges, Dartmouth. And it's in New Hampshire, I think. Mm-hmm. So it's a big deal.
Yeah. Where's the competition?
It's in New Hampshire.
It's in New Hampshire.
Yeah. So Dartmouth puts it on, and then but you'll have all the Ivy League schools, their engineering programs, most of whom have a budget like
a lot,
100 times bigger than ours.
A lot.
But it turns out that it isn't just the budget; it's also the heart of the students that makes a difference, that matters, and it's so fun to watch the students problem solve. They'll run into roadblocks, and they have to figure out how to get past that.
And it's really cool specifically with that because we need engineers from people from all different degrees on that team, because you have engineers, mechanical engineers and electrical engineers designing, parts of the car, and we need welders. At the same time, we need people who help organize things. Business majors and stuff can help organize. We need graphic design. So it's almost like for those who actually find out, they can get involved no matter what degree, as long as they're willing to learn and willing to push themselves.
Yeah. Well, what a great experience this will be, and we're excited to see how you do. So let us know when you come back at that competition, when you win. You need to tell us.
We won't set the bar too high, will we?
Well, tell me, just if you were to try to encourage somebody to be part of this program, what would you say, just in a one sentence, this is why you should join this department or take this major? We'll start with you, Rustin.
If you like getting your hands dirty and you like problem solving and doing things that maybe haven't been done before, then get involved. But you have to be, to be successful, you have to be willing to push yourself and be comfortable being uncomfortable, because you're learning something completely new that you're not familiar with. And then rely on the people around you, because the professors are all willing to give advice, to just talk, whatever it needs to be done. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, thank you. Go ahead, Justin.
Well, I would say if you're someone who likes routine and not to be challenged, then this is not the program for you. And I say that just because similar experience, right? This has been my career, and it's been I look back and I say that was one of the best decisions I ever made, to choose to go into automotive, because there have been no 2 days the same. Every day is a new problem. Every day you are challenged, and there's frustration, but then there's the growth that happens as you resolve it. And yeah, so I would echo that part. If you like figuring out how things work, that would be the number one criteria. Mm-hmm. Just figuring out how things work. I was a kid who loved to take things apart. I tried to put them back together and usually didn't get them back together. So if that's your interest, and you also want no 2 days to be the same for the rest of your career, this is the place.
Yeah. Okay, last question. How is your department fulfilling the mission of BYU-Idaho?
I would say just by doing all the things we've talked about, but primarily by helping to develop the testimonies and discipleship efforts of these students while they're here, and preparing them with skills and a resume that will make them attractive to employers. They're going to be able to support themselves and their families. They're going to be able to contribute to their communities, and they're going to be able to serve in the church because of the skills and experiences they have here. Now, students bring a lot with them, but I hope that we can take that and just take what they bring and just magnify it, making them more capable in all areas.
Yeah, thank you. Rustin?
I do have to say one of the biggest things that I've noticed after talking to different people across campus is we have an amazing networking course, and I think that's one of the big reasons why we're able to get these jobs as students, is because networking is hammered into our brains, and we have that advantage compared to all these other people, and it's so cool to see all the love that the professors put into everything that they do with teasing, and we get to go on, certain groups get to go on trips, go visit Detroit, go visit different manufacturers, and get a little bit more exposure for our college. But yeah.
Well, Rustin and Justin, thank you so much for joining me today for the Fulfilling the Mission podcast.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having us. Yeah.